welcome to the bending of the mind, and I'm just pretending that everything's fine. I'm sure that eventually with time I'll be ascending, and as far as I'm told I've been ascendant, and I'm just a part of it, a participant, and the antecedents are really just the antithesis of everything that stands for me. So that's the reason that I stand against it. Let me just tell ya, the standard is met, and I'm really just the next level, the next generation that's come to be generous to the ones who bring the second best, and then it's less. I mean, there's an element to it. Lunta's in the chat on. Now I'm just chilling and I'm running through it. I'm just trying to get the sentiments through, and hopefully they can understand what I'm doing and get it into their brain, their subconscious mind, and I'm just letting them through. And the gatekeepers aren't even getting into this. Nah, they have nothing to crack into. They've got no insight into, and I'm just getting insightful too. This is something to incite, and this is just quite the mood. This is something that's a nightmare, and they might have brought food. They might not have enough, cause I've got caught in the loose, and the foot loose is not the moves that you're gonna have to bring if you want the truth. And truthfully, this is just the loosening of the grip of people who are much above elites, who have too many things going on in their brain, so much that they want to do with us and use to spin, and usually then they're gonna have to get it by the skin, their teeth. And this is just something that pleases me, and history shows this is just the beast that we can do. It's weakening too, and we can see through. And the evening news is gonna have to be whatever it can. I mean, we're just bleeding through, hoping that the leisure full rhymes might just alleviate the pull. I know that I'm seeing you too, and I can see through the window. I hope that I can see the glimpse, but it's gleaming. And I know I'm not sure what the meaning, but I know what I mean to do, and I know what it means to you. This is easy to do, and it's easy to be full of myself, but I know that I'm making a fool of myself every time I bring less than the truth. So let's just get it straight. I'm trying to get through the eye of the needle. I'm trying to find it. It might be so us, and I hope that my pupils are opening way deeper than the eye, cause I would need to understand it on a deeper level. And the prior seems to come alive as soon as my eyes bleed. And I just know that the envy never surprises me. I mean, it's likely that they're gonna have to test some things or come try me. This is just the lessoning, and I'm gonna have to teach some lessons again. And I hope that less than bling is really the only thing that's gonna come when the phone starts to ring, and these blessings come as soon as I'm getting this shit ringing out, letting the shots ring, and hoping it lessens the sting. Yeah, face reveal. Face has been revealed for quite a while, but it stays real. Now I'm just making it real, doing the rap on and chopping it into reels, and staying with the steel, trying to stop the steel, like the metal they're creating, and the industrialization that might just cause your brain to melt, like steel beams won't. And I'm just trying to keep it real with the quote. This is the essence of it. There's no need to put into a sentence the things that I'm sentencing, like I go to court when I brought the argument, but they don't got enough to put it against it, put it away. This is just the easy way to look at it. And strawberry shortcake in the chat is understanding the message, and the way it springs back. This is just something to bring back, like I'm going back to last season and it was spring. And in fact, there are so many things that spring to mind when I'm thinking of tracks that keep me on track. I mean, I just need myself. I need to just be blacking out on this mic, cause it's the thing that keeps me with a sick hat. That Sam, Pajama Sam, know what it am. I might just blam you, do damage to you, and you know that I came with the cam. That might just be the one causing you to stammer, and I know that it might just summarize you, but it must be harder than a hammer, heavier, and it's easy to subsidize you. But what does it try to, what is the purpose of crying? Cause I'm just trying to open up the brain so I can enlighten you. I'm trying to find the reason and the structure, but what does it mean when I'm just being instructive and destructive at the same time, and trying to follow instructions? But this is just me, and this is just me busting into the game any way that I know how. I'm trying to just be lesson and a topic of discussion, while also a topic of the best one at the top of it. I know there's no stopping it and there's no cushion, but when you're following it and falling off of it, the fall off comes. It's just part of it, and hopefully we can soften it, but this is just the last and it's lost in it. I mean, I'm trying to lessen the loss of it, and really I'm just sick of you all with it. So really I'm finding a place to walk, and then I'm gonna walk with it. Alright, find something. Dose 1, that's interesting. But tell me if you've heard the rapping before, but you haven't seen my face, what have you seen of me when it comes to the rapping, if I may ask? And just for anybody who doesn't know, what I'm going to do with the stream is I'm going to go back and forth with the rapping. Normally what I've been doing is just going straight through and rapping for like an hour. But on this one, I'm going to try to stretch it out for longer and go back and forth to just like chatting with you guys and also rapping about different topics that we talk about and that sort of thing. I'm going to see if I can use that as a way to make the streams longer. And also I've been having some technical issues lately with the stream, so that may happen with the audio not working in my favor. So that's partly why I'm breaking it up here, going back and forth between having the beats playing and rapping, and hopefully getting some like clips and segments out of that, and also just chatting with you guys in the chat and stuff. Lunta got something he need to do. I feel you. Only seeing my videos about the Rogan Sphere podcast. Interesting. So you're saying that only just now my flow is reminding you of Dose 1 and whatnot. Because I thought you were saying that you've heard it in the past and sometimes it reminds you of that. It's not a bad comparison. I was never into Dose 1 and Anticon particularly, but that was definitely something that I like had some awareness of. And like, you know, I do think that my sound comes from that type of scene and those type of artists. But Dose 1 wasn't an artist that I heard a lot about coming up. I more have heard about him in the recent sense, like the last few years. Only have seen the videos about the Rogan Sphere podcast. YouTube presents them in that way, though. Yeah, I kind of know how it works, where it's like the algorithm shows the videos to people, and you know, it shows the ones that are like of the most sort of pop culture interest. Those are the ones that get into the algorithm. So, what's up, Undead Mew? How you doing? I'm just chilling here. We're going back and forth between rapping and chatting. I'm just gonna see how that flows. Gonna try to stretch this stream out longer. I've been doing these streams on Friday afternoons and evenings, and thank you, Strawberry. And yeah, I've been wanting to make them longer, but I only have so much time, so doing them in the middle of the night might be the only way for me to spend more time doing this. But viewership doesn't seem too heavy at the same time, but we'll see. We're just gonna chill for a while. Love the vids. Hell yeah, Undead Mew. Which ones do you like? Which ones do you find yourself watching? Probably like or let's say, which video did you find me from, if you remember? Or like, which people that I was talking about were you interested in? Showing some interest, know that it hits less. Waiting till the pin pricks and the pins and needles in your skin, just find something different to suggest. And I'm hoping that it turns into a slugfest, just so many punches, going right and left, and this is something that might make you go deaf, and it's no less interesting in something you might catch an inkling of. The brain might get tinkering on the window pane, and the pain that you're feeling might start sinking in. This is just something different than what you're thinking. I'm trying to follow a new level, find some new things to be kicking. I'm sick of these kids that are indifferent and this new old school style of thinking. That's just not the appropriate approach to anything. Let me just keep it hollow, but really the hollows that I'm bringing are ringing hollow, and I know if there was anything that was sinking or hitting, but it's just hitting different, and this is something I'm gonna have to make an inference on, and the reference that I'm getting is really not just in the proper tense. So let me just keep your attention for just a second. Never coming second to none. This is just one with it, and this is coverage, and I'm just coming through and hoping that is one with it. I'm one with something that's never gonna be interrupted unless they come with some kind of disgusting frame of reference that no one could ever take, or there's no question. I just may request that people turn the sound down. There ain't no way to come around now, and I'm just trying to eliminate the fucking clowns that want to frown and look down upon. Yeah, there ain't no reason to doubt upon it, and rain clouds coming to cloud up my sky are probably just gonna get rained down on. Yeah. Chris Clemens said hi in a chat, and you know the name rang out on the fucking pad, and now I'm just going back to the pad, and you know I had so much havoc that I wreaked, and this is just something that got wreaked on me last week, and I stopped, and I had to stop to think. I'm just lost in it, hoping it creaks through, and I'm just taking a peek. I mean, I'm at my peak. This is just what they mean when they say in another league, trust me. And there's no trust in it, there's no reason to be bussin'. There are so many slugs coming that people just gotta question it. There's so many things to question, so many snipers shooting things from so many different directions, causing paranoia in our society I've never seen, and common sense seems like it's shattering in front of us. Everybody's just finding their own way to go on the crazy bus, going off the rails of the crazy train, but it's all of us all at once, and it's all a million different trains all of us are taking, and we all got our tickets, and nobody knows where the fuck they're stopping us or dropping us, but we're just going and got this motion, got a lot of things that are going on and a lot of things that are growing in the meantime. And I'm not trying to be mean, but I'm just saying I'm less inclined to be following the incline, cause this is just how it rhymes, and history doesn't rhyme, but it has a similar cadence. This is just the way that this flow moves awkwardly across your screen dash, and that's the last you've seen of me, and it probably is a problem, cause I would just wreak havoc on any place that I get back on. Billions and bellions, and I'm just being jelly, and I'm just trying to be the alien and evangelion, and I'm just the one that's telling y'all I'ma be the Megatron or the Mecha on the suit that's got a lot going on, and mecha arms, and probably gonna be armed to the teeth, and this is just a reason for you to be calling an armistice if you wish to keep the peace. Let me just blow you to smithereens in just a second if I wish, but this is just something that gets you less displeased. I mean less pleased and displaced, like you had to sit in a different place because of the way that this shit erased. And it stays in stasis. I mean, I'm just saying, I'm just trying to be the one that's got a lot of things on me, but be honest with me, I'm the one that's causing the problems, but they're all jackets and they're all just popping off, and there's not a lot that I could thought. I'm trying to just brick these wicked thoughts in practice, but this is just backlashing upon me, and really the poems that I'm written in the palm of me are just kind of causing all kinds of ruckus that I'm not sure if I can be controlling, and the controller in my hand is vibrating slowly, and I know what that means. It means that the impacts are hitting, and this just impacts my ability to be flowing and killing it, and this agility that I have taken years to be getting and adding up properly is probably a reason that people are feeling me, and this is something that's filling up a space that needs to be less vacant. And trust me, there is something that I'm coming through. It's causing the earth to be quaking, and there's so many questions that they got, but I answer without thinking, and sometimes that caused me to be pushing it to the brink. I mean, I'm always pushing the line, and this is just something I've discussed in something I've discussed in at length, and there are so many lengths that I would go on and go to find the truth, and so many things that I've gone through just to know you, and to know how to bring it all to the roof. I'm just jumping off these roofs, hope that I can fly, and I know you might have noticed you're the one that I sent a note to, and there's just a note to read, but you might be notified. I mean, it's so solidified. This is just why this is shit that's gliding through your glasses and through the screen. I mean through the dash and through the windshield, but it's not shielding me, cause I'm just lost and I'm caught. No seals could be copping a field, cause they got a lot in their fields, but I'm just constantly on the dash, and they're not gonna steal me. I'm stealing away, and still it's the only real way to be revealing the way that I'm just being the one that's the illest. Trust it, what is the feeling? I mean, there's too many suggestions that are coming through it. I need to be the one that has the instruments at his control, and is commanding. This is commanding, and this is a demand that I just come through and bring the branding. And what is the weapon that I'm brandishing? This is too much to be kicking. What is the reason? I just need to find myself back where I was in a previous place, but my previous suggestion really just got me moving the greediest. And I can see that they're cheesing with this, but what the fuck are they greeting it for? I mean, I need to alleviate some of the pain I'm feeling, and it's have pink sunglasses, the world looks rosy, and I might just have to park it like my name was Posey, and they want to strike a pose for me, but that's where it's supposed to go, supposedly. And I'm just trying to find a right approach to be me. Andrew, who the fuck is that? I don't know, but it seems that I've got the whole flow, and you know I'm going with schemes. I mean, there are known things that are going through the whole air, and it goes and it zings and it flows, and it might just sting if it hits you. I'm exposing the wires and the fatal flaws in the whole system, and the thing they know is it rings true. And I know that it gets through. This is just an issue that they must have trouble getting through. The regular complaint and the methods that are in tow and unavailable. So let me just get it through to you. Let me trust it. There's too much to trust. Yeah. Subway helps with the blue light. I know. Yeah, but if the blue lights are busted, then you're fucked then. And there's no even discussion about it. So fuck it. I'ma just trust it then. Let me just come around again. They want to hate, but they're always gonna come around in the end. That's how it sounded. Alright. I'm gonna take a break for a second from rapping and get my thoughts together on like some verses to spit. Because my topics were, I don't even remember, Kash Patel, Rogan. Yeah, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna look through this Kash Patel article a little bit and write some notes down and then rap a little bit about that. And what will be interesting to see is if the audio starts going out while I'm doing this. Yeah, you fucking with that, shortcake? So I mean, if you know anti-con and that's your context with hip hop, you've got some roots in hip hop. You're a hip hop fan. Underground 2000s era, 90s era hip hop fan. Hell yeah, Blue Pit. I fucks with you. I'll go back to the rapping too. I'm just gonna kind of, like I said, just sort of go back and forth and have some fun with it. Maybe read these articles out a little bit. Kash Patel was preparing to leave. So this first part is him having a freak out because he thought he got locked out of the FBI computers. He thought he got fired when he saw that he was locked out. So he started panicking, and so he had a friend that was really into that in the 90s and 2000s. Hell yeah. Yeah, that 2000s shit was my shit. That was my introduction. That may be why I was a little late for Anticon. He made the music for Stranger Things. That's fire. Wow, that's really cool. That makes sense that somebody who was into that type of music ended up in that world. That's interesting. I would love to talk to that guy about music. But yeah, so Kash Patel panicked, thought he got fired, and was rushing around. He was telling everybody, like texting them about it and like in internal group chats and shit, thinking he got fired. So it probably means that he's expecting to get fired soon. Spider Cash. That's a new one. I haven't heard that one. Big rollerblade culture. What does that mean? Big rollerblade culture. Kyle. What's his name? Kyle something. So like literally it got to the point where the White House is getting calls from people internally at the Bureau and from Congress, members of Congress, asking who was in charge of the FBI. But Patel wasn't even fired. He thought just because he like forgot his password or his password wasn't working that he was fired. Concerned that his job is in jeopardy. Heavy drinking, so like that video where he was with hockey players. What team was that? I don't even know. Was that the Olympics? No, you don't have to worry about clogging the chat. You're helping me keep it going, Strawberry. I appreciate you. Thank you. Plano TX, what's that? Spider Cash. That's right. That's his. It wasn't OnlyFans. It was fucking. Thank you for reminding me that. I need to write that down. It wasn't OnlyFans. It was like Pornhub. I think he had like a Pornhub account. Spider Cash. Yeah, I forgot about that. I think that's in this article too. So a lot saying that basically it's expected that he's going to be fired. Crime across the country has plummeted. The FBI responded with a straight statement attributed to Patel. He's erratic, suspicious of others, and prone to jumping to conclusions before he has necessary evidence. That's good. That's what you want in an FBI director. Big, beautiful, wet president out of the Situation Room. So true. Well, Netanyahu was in there, so it's fine. He had it handled, so there was no reason for the wet guy to be in there. I like how you always announce yourself with something about the big, beautiful, wet president. That's really solid. I fuck with that. Plano, Texas. That's what I got, but what exactly were you saying about Plano, Texas? Big rollerblade culture in Plano, Texas. Is that related to your friend making the music for Stranger Things? Suspicious inebriation. Tim Dillon basically said that he thinks Kash Patel's job at this point is to not be the head of the FBI. Like, that's why he's there, is to not do his job. And in that sense, that's exactly what Trump wants. Interesting. Yeah, they said this shit about him being passed out behind locked doors. They gotta get like the battering rams and shit. I haven't tried doing the freestyles this way, where I sit here and like write it down on stream and then rap about it. Not sure how that's gonna go, but we'll try it. Far-fetched conspiracy theories. Super badass skate park in Plano in the 2000s. Was it like a skateboard skate park, or more rollerblading going on there? I guess you'd have both. How popular is rollerblading still? People still do it, right? I never see reels and stuff of rollerblading. I've seen parkour, I see skateboarding. I almost never see rollerblading. It's got to be out there though, right? Even many of those who had been enthusiastic about his arrival had since been disappointed. Officials said that Patel has been an irregular presence at FBI headquarters and in field offices. Trump just applying Bannon's Leninist playbook of going scorched earth on federal institutions. Yeah, I don't know that Trump is really capable of pulling it off in that same way, though. Because the thing about Trump is he does want them doing stuff. He gets mad that they aren't able to accomplish what he wants, like prosecuting people like James Comey and Letitia James, or like the 2020 election. Kash Patel went on Fox News today and said that there are going to be arrests over the 2020 election, like in the next week. And he obviously just said that just to placate Trump, because he knows that
Trump is like, that's the way to let Trump know, like, oh, I'm doing something, you know what I mean? And that's also the place that you can reach him at. So I think Trump is basically not strategic enough to be doing that Leninist approach, as you're saying. Although I think that's part of it. But, you know, like that aspect of what they're doing is definitely there. There's definitely people like Russell Vought who are very conscious about that. But as far as Trump, I don't think so. In fact, I think he wants these institutions to work in as far as they serve his ends. You know what I mean? Supreme Court, ICE, FBI, intelligence, the military. I wouldn't say he's going scorched earth on them as much as he is in terms of making them loyalists, yes. But it's more so like just bad governance, in my opinion. I don't think it's very strategic. Longboard. Longboarding is chill. I've never longboarded. They get a lot of shit, but it's undeserved. So in other words, like is Kash Patel doing what Trump wanted in terms of just being bad at being the FBI guy? Yes, he is. But Kash Patel's also probably going to be out soon because he's failing to deliver what Trump wants the FBI to be doing, which the truth is nobody can do. So that's the problem, is that he is an institutionalist in that he wants the institutions to do impossible things, and not an anti-institutionalist in the way that he wants them to completely not exist, because he recognizes that being in control of these agencies is very powerful. So I don't know exactly where that leaves us in terms of policy, but Patel views many of the Bureau's veterans as anti-Trump deep state agents who have worked against him and his followers. That's good. That's what you want to hear. I mean, the FBI being turned against itself sounds pretty good to me. I'm okay with that. Hey, Mr. Possessive, what's up? What's up? It's been too long. Where have you been at? I've been doing the streams on Friday. You haven't seen them? This is a little different stream that I'm doing right now. Maybe that's even why the algorithm showed it to you. Because what I'm doing on this one is going back and forth between the rapping and the talking to try to make it longer, basically, and be able to be on stream for longer. So maybe that's why this one got served up to you. What's up? How have you been? You doing all right? I missed you too. What about on YouTube, like the streams I've been doing? Damn. Yeah, I was doing streams Friday evenings, which I guess that could be why you were out. Yeah, I only stream on YouTube. I don't do Twitch. I tried doing like a multi-stream thing, but it didn't really get anywhere. YouTube is the only one that shows me to people, so it's the only one I've made a habit of streaming on. But what I haven't done in a while is a stream where I'm just like talking to people. Thank you, Mr. Possessive. I'm good. Me and Amira just celebrated a year anniversary yesterday, so that was nice. It wasn't the exact day, but that was the day that we were celebrating. So that was beautiful. And we have talked about missing you and wondering where you were at, so I'll let you know. I'll let her know that you were in the chat. I don't think she was able to make this one. She's got something in the morning. Thank you. But yeah, I feel like the streams, I miss doing these like just long chilling streams. I haven't done one of these in so long because I was focusing on the rapping. But I feel like doing the longer nighttime streams might be the way to go, especially on Mondays. Gives people something to watch on Mondays when I don't drop a video. So that's my approach right now. And then, all right, I'll finish this article and then say something about Kash Patel. I have returned. Oh, sometimes when YouTube shows you streamers, it's like weird clips from Twitch. Interesting. No, I don't stream on Twitch. I'm not in the Twitch community. I would, and I'll probably, like, it's a good idea to be there. I'll probably spread to being there at some point. But yeah, I don't know. It's never. YouTube shows you to more people, especially the shorts feed. The shorts feed is good. You can go live and just kind of like meet some people. What's up, Lunta? What's up, Lunta? Trump has complained that the FBI directors seem unprepared for TV appearances and that some high-profile investigations have not moved quickly. See, that's exactly what I was saying. So that makes me wonder if that's why he was doing a TV appearance, is because he wanted to literally show that off for Trump, that he's doing stuff. OG. Yeah, it's interesting how, because both of you guys haven't been in the chat for a while. Lunta just came back for the first time. I think not in the last stream, but the one before. It's a whole reunion. Damn, he has people polygraphed to see if they're leakers. Of course, he wrote a book called Government Gangsters. Interesting, Mr. Possessive. Hell yeah, Taihi. You used to think every country had its own FBI and CIA. Well, every country that's able to does. Every country has some intelligence needs, but that's how a lot of countries end up being dependent on others, is needing access to their intelligence. Ukraine would be an example of that. Ukraine and America, although that's not all Ukraine gets out of its relationship with America. Governments are gangsters, yeah. It's just the top tier of like use of violence to get what you want, like the highest level of it. That's why they say that government is just a monopoly on violence. It's just the person who has the right to use the most violence and therefore the most power. Patel fired members of a counterintelligence squad that was devoted to Iran. The truth is, TY, I don't know how to pronounce your name like that. I forget what it's what your actual username is. I'm trying to remember. What's up, Smooth Bandit? Yeah, truth is, all he would have to do is tell Trump that I'm saving you from the woke deep state, and he'd be fine. But he probably already like got off with that for a while, and so now Trump wants to hear something else. Trump just wants people to be arrested and prosecuted, and that's just like not going to happen. They're not going to be able to corrupt the entire system to that extent, not in a short period of time. So like that right there is just going to like, Trump's never going to be happy with any of these people because they're not going to be able to do that. Lolita Express mail order bride. I suppose that's one way to put it. All right, let me try to rap about Kash Patel for a second. Let me write down one more thing. What's up, Instant Mash? Yeah. Kash Patel having a freak out behind the scenes, trying to get his brain back as well, but in the back of his head it swells, paranoia getting at him, and now it's just in the deepest part of his atoms. Not sure how he's gonna come back, but he's got his brain and the best men on it, best men that he could find, anyone that would be honest and loyal to him and lie to anyone's face just to say that 2020 was rigged against Trump and anything else that Trump wanted. As long as you can launder that bullshit, then he's gonna keep his eye on you. And that's just the way all this shit works. And to be honest, there's no one less honest than anyone running the top of the FBI. That's just part of the job. It's part of the description, is to be an expert at lying. And maybe the worst thing that FBI Director Kash Patel did is not actually be good at these televised lies, telling us things that we can see with our eyes are not true. And it's just getting Trump into deeper bullshit. He needs someone who's better at being in the spotlight, that is going to navigate through without being able to throw him under the bus too. But it's impossible to do, because anyone is not going to be able to get through the muck that he's created for them, and there's no trust to the FBI collapsing underneath its own weight and its own politicized nature. But this is just the way the fate goes, and honestly it won't even collapse. It'll just become something that is used as a naked political tool, and not just without the president's use or the president's knowledge, but with his direct input. And that's just really the mask being ripped off of something that always was the way it was, and that's just something that we should all trust is gonna get worse. And anybody who takes the reins from Trump should honestly do even more than that and go further for the sake of all of us. When it comes to the contradictions that we're hearing from this administration, all of them can be strung up when it comes to the law, and it'll be a lot more lawful than whatever they want to pull off while they've got power. Trump pushing Kash Patel to put someone behind bars as quick as he can, but he just doesn't have the ability, and he's crashing out because he knows he's going to disappoint Trump, and there's not any way that he can follow through on what he was asked for. And that's just the reason he's going to be ashes on the floor, and it won't be long. They're just waiting until the spotlight's off him, so it doesn't seem like it's pressure from the public that caused it. That's really the Trump administration's whole MO. They wait until the spotlight is off it, and then they kick him out quick, like Kristi Noem. And everyone knows Kash Patel was the next on the docket, so it's inevitable that they're gonna get him, and he's going and doing Fox News hits saying that he's gonna arrest someone for 2020, and they're gonna go to jail for some kind of crime that he still can't even announce. And no type of indictments have been put out for anybody involved in anything when it comes to elections or anything else related to Trump's enemies and the people that he wants Kash Patel to put away. And then it seems that no replacement for Pam Bondi is ever going to be able to see the case that he wants to see, and he just wants a blatant elimination of the rule of law and to be able to completely weaponize the law against the enemies of the president, perceived and real. But really he's going to feel that unless there's something to go after them that's real, then they're not going to be able to break that field. But the truth is, there may be some prosecutions that go through because all these people have skeletons in their closet, and that's why they go after the mortgages when it comes to James Comey and Letitia James, because that's the only thing they have on them, digging into people's backs and financial past just to find something that they can throw at them. And they're going to make the argument that that's what they're doing to Trump, but really when it comes to Trump, these are things he did to get power, like hiding the source of the money that went to Stormy Daniels just so he could quiet her. Really, it's just the norm shattering in America. Mistakes are not permitted. Multi-syllable rhyme scheme. That's just why it's going in, and this is something that's even deeper. And there's no remaining in the image. I'm just built in a greater image, and they can't even take it. Now I'm just staying in it, laning. And my lane is changing every day, and there are so many things in it. And I'm claiming dominion over the way the spraying is happening. And what's gonna happen in the FBI is something crazy. Lightning is cracking it again, and somebody's gonna get put back in that chair as soon as Kash Patel is pushed out it. And there's no doubt it is gonna be somebody worse, but maybe more competent, who's gonna make less noise. That's always what happens when you push someone out their position, is they just get replaced by some stooge that has no qualifications but has less scrutiny applied to them, so they can just slide through the system and probably never even have to be approved by Congress. And that's really the truth and the whole strategy behind firing whoever you hired in the first place is that once you fire them and replace them with whatever it's called, a temporary, that just slides by the Congress. They can't even get them in or vote on it, and nobody has to permit it. So you can put anyone that you want in there, and this is just something that is a way to get around the system, and it's something Trump has used over and over again, and it's what we can expect in the FBI, but doesn't mean that he's actually going to get something out of it. Yeah. And that's just something that you should be doubting. Yeah, and my vision could be clouded, but not as cloudy as the FBI director when he's trying to get the last drop out of the bottle that he's drinking it out of. And the doubt starts to creep up that maybe the boss that hired him, the person he's devoted his loyalty for the last several years, is starting to turn on him and starting to find him a little bit reprehensible and starting to doubt him. May just shout at him or shout him down or might just throw him out. And that would be the end of his career as far as he knows, because he's not set anything else for himself up, and he's got no goals. All he did building a career was tell people that the 2020 election was stole. So if he can't get some kind of results from that, then there will be nothing. Trump will just throw him out in the concrete and then kick him, and that'll be the end of the discussion. Kicking a dog when he's down is really the only way to get into it. Yeah, and this is just something to be listening to, and it's just listless, and I hope you can open up the list, but really something is getting through to you, and the little black books that they got behind the scenes trying to scrutinize and find the truth in, or just write some things then that could probably get someone behind bars and just find them toothless. And yeah, really the whole thing is toothless. The whole game is defanged, and that is really the point of the Trump administration, is to defang these agencies and make them only capable of doing the things that he wants them to. But that's where he's going to fall into a brick wall, because these agencies don't have the ability to prosecute people without going through the courts, and that's what Trump wants. He wants to corrupt the system so bad that the courts don't stop these false prosecutions. He actually believes that the delusions in his mind of what these people have been doing and going against him, and it's all illegal, and the courts can't see through it, and there aren't judges that are going to throw it out, and it's possible that someone will become a guinea pig for it and will go through the courts, and it'll go forward and get overturned several times over, and whether or not they actually end up in jail will be up a coin toss that nobody's sure. But so far we haven't seen that, and I'm not so sure it's going to happen, because when it comes to James Comey or Letitia James, both of them have got out of it pretty easily and pretty happily, and it seems like Trump is not happy about it. Seems like every way he turns, he's getting thrown out of the cases, and the cases are just getting torn to shreds in front of him, and there's nothing he can do about it. Yeah, except shout as loud as he possibly can, and it's got a lot in his hand, and he had a much stronger hand about a year ago, but he played it, probably overplayed most of it, and I'm not sure if there's much more of a place for him to go with it. But I suppose that it is something that could be wrapped up quick and quite potent if he has more plans for where he wants to go. Cuba's next, he says, after he's done with Iran, but really the Strait of Hormuz keeps on getting closed, and it doesn't seem like a solution to that is getting close. So I'm really rooting for it, because it keeps him wrapped up in a bunch of shit, and basically in a position that he can't get out of or move toward, and it's untoward, and he's towering over the rest of the world, but he's starting to look a lot smaller, if you ask me. All right, Justice Jack Smith. All right, take a break for a few seconds. How long was that? I ain't into A-pack, gotta get me a 6-pack. And this is just some shit to write back, but really they're gonna have to get their skits back. Bongino. How is it that Bongino is still like relevant? He's still like in the zeitgeist, you know what I mean? What's up with that? Trump seems to think his second term is going to be like Putin's Russia. Yeah, and it just hasn't gone that way. So it makes me interested to see like where it's going to go from here, because like their shows of power have not gone the way that they thought they would. And so like most of their ability to exert that power has collapsed, not all of it. And the military is basically the place that Trump still has unilateral authority, but he doesn't have unilateral authority to use it in America the way he thought he would. So I mean, right there, the plan kind of collapses. We'll see what happens with polling places and ICE and their ability to sort of manipulate and distort the election. But I suspect that it won't be enough. Thank you, Mr. Possessive. I appreciate it. it feels a lot looser and more chill to do it this way. Yeah, I was kind of thinking about that yesterday, that like, not that I didn't think we'd survive, but like, honestly, it's not as bad as I thought it could have been. I don't know if I thought it would be worse than this necessarily, but I definitely knew that it could be worse, and it hasn't been as bad as it could be. But maybe that's the problem, because in some instances it is bad. Like the results of what he's doing are bad for some people, like the immigrant communities that are being like locked up and warehoused and deported. We're not even hearing that much about deportations. They're literally just like stocking these people up in these facilities. So that alone, the experience of that alone, and not to mention like what those people experienced, going into that, is like, I guess I just don't want to forget that even though it hasn't been as horrific as possible, it's still been pretty damn horrific. You wish I didn't say what, Smooth Bandit? Jack Smith is still chilling at The Hague. What do you mean by that? DHS just updated their website. Updated what? What exactly are you referring to, Smooth Bandit? CBPM home stipend increase. Those who self-deport. Was this in reference to what I said about deportations? Is that what you were pointing me towards? I think part of what makes it less scary is the underqualifications of everyone. Imagine if he had actual professionals executing these things. Be worse, absolutely, as white guys will never feel the worst of it, but even ICE all look like nerdy high schoolers. Their policy enforcement goals. Well, I know what their policy enforcement goals are. Is this in relation to what you said you wish I didn't say? What is it that you wish I didn't say? Something about ICE? Their policy enforcement goals. Yeah, and I agree about ICE, Mr. Possessive. Like, and just in general, like they're less intimidating to me than they were at first, because a lot of their shit just like straight up hasn't worked. And then like even just the little bit of backlash that Stephen Miller got, like in this recent round with Minnesota, like I think that did a lot to let them know that there's only so far that they can go. Doesn't mean that things aren't still really bad behind the scenes and aren't still going to get worse at certain flashpoints. But I do think that was sort of a wake-up call for them, that like they're not going to be able to just, that like Stephen Miller, I don't know if he's been reined in behind the scenes, but he definitely has that awareness that can only come from touching the stove. They've touched the stove a few different times on this. That ICE had died down. That's not what I said. That's not what I said. You didn't listen to what I said. I said we're not hearing as much about deportations, but they're just warehousing people and creating these like insane conditions. So what I meant by that was that if they are mass deporting people currently, that's all we would be hearing about, but they're not. So they're still rounding people up, but it's more so where they're just creating these horrific, detention facility conditions. And I was saying that is, we need to remind ourselves that that's going on, while we also can say that Trump hasn't impacted like, day-to-day life as much as we might have thought. But partially that's the problem, because day-to-day life also allows them to continue that rounding up of people. But I guess I do understand why you said that, Smooth Bandit, because I think sometimes in the service of trying to make that point, I say things like, ICE took a little bit of a punishment or backlash or had to be drawn back. And I don't think that's necessarily true, but we are seeing a little bit less of it. There's no doubt about that. publication and some international pressure, some international pressure, some internal pressure. So I still think there's bad things going on, but they've reached that point where it's like, okay, now we're getting backlash. We weren't getting much backlash for a while. Now we are. And I think the whole Trump administration has been that, just seeing like how far they can push it until they start to get either economic backlash or public backlash. And they've reached that point on most fronts by now. So is it that the media aren't reporting enough? That's definitely part of it, for sure. That's definitely part of it. I agree. And I would even be open to the idea that it's just as bad or worse as ever, and it's just not being reported on. I haven't heard anything to that effect, but you could be right. All right, so what's my next topic? I wanted to talk about the missing scientists. I wanted to talk about Joe Rogan at the White House. What else we got? I took it as the media coverage of ISIS right now. I'm only just now seeing a couple of your comments, Mr. Possessive. YouTube does this thing where it switches to top chat instead of live chat, like in the middle of you talking. I don't want to be one of those fake news people, but I do feel like a lot of mainstream media isn't doing enough. It's all owned by Trump loyalists at the top, though. They're definitely not doing enough. What I've noticed, yeah, you're probably on the target list, Lintha. In fact, you're one of the names that's been coming up for sure. For sure. Yeah, I think a major difference with Trump this time is what they call sane washing, where they try to make what Trump says more sane than it is. Or it's like, at this point, so much of Trump's approach to politics and everything about Trump has been reinforced and legitimized because he won again. So much that the media was reporting on as being absurd and unbelievable and insane and unprecedented the first time. This time it's like, well, not only is it not as unprecedented now, but also they realized that none of that worked. All they did was kind of like, make Trump more of a spectacle by constantly being in panic mode about him, but also not addressing like the core problems going on in America, because it is corporate media at the end of the day. So this time, I think they just took a more normal approach to Trump, and only now is it starting to fall apart. Only now are you starting to see more reporting about like, this is not normal, this is crazy, what Trump is saying is crazy. You're seeing more from that on the right, and I think that the mainstream media not saying that Trump is crazy every day is allowing people to come to that conclusion on their own. It's annoying because we could have just listened the first time around, but that's sort of what I think is going on. Was sane washing even a thing before Trump came into power? Yeah, for sure. I mean, with Bush, the same thing. Like, you could easily make that argument with Bush that he was way more authoritarian, or what he did with Iraq, none of that should have been legal or allowed to happen. That the Iraq war and the justifications for it would probably be the best existing example of sane washing outside of Trump, because there was so much there that was just absolute bullshit that went completely unexamined by the media. And like, publications like the New York Times had to apologize for their lack of scrutiny, or just pushing things that ended up being major lies that got us into those wars. Interesting. How was my anniversary? It was cool. We had a good time. We went and saw postmodernism. What is postmodernism? Sane washing? I guess. Depends on how you look at it. I'm not an expert on postmodernism in the philosophical sense. So I don't really like that as some people like to make that their target, postmodernism, and I think it's fair. But no, I think it's more of a Chomskyan or like a Parenti style, rewriting of the narrative to fit U.S. interests, to make sure that any critiques of Donald Trump fit cleanly into a framework that also serves U.S. corporate interests and doesn't go outside of that. And that is ultimately why Trump has been empowered as the main representative of corporate media, or corporate power in America, because his political support never went away, and he was never ever seen as internally as an enemy of corporate America. And so he got to a point where his power was, unquestionable. And I think we're beyond that point now, where the cracks have formed. But that's sort of, I think, the phenomenon of Trump. Love-hate relationship with philosophy. Yeah, it's I guess it's not what I gravitate to. I like philosophy, but I gravitated towards things that are a little more concrete, I think. Mostly right-wingers now. Let's wait and see what happens when being on the right no longer is popular. Yeah, that's why I cover Joe Za, because I'm very interested in he's not making the moves that some people think he's making, and him showing up in the White House is an example of that. And yeah, you're right. He's not on the fence with Trump, but he's going to keep pretending to be, because he's going to keep saying things like, man, this is bad, or man, this looks bad. But if you really think about it, that's most of his critiques of Trump. People got it wrong by saying that he was turning on Trump and he can't stomach this and this is just too bad. He wasn't saying anything like that. In all of these cases, he was saying this looks bad, or other people out there are feeling this way about it, and that's why it's bad for the administration to do this. Epstein, ICE, Iran, that's what he's been saying. I think the strongest condemnation has come on Iran, saying like, this can't be real, we can't be doing this. And so he has not turned on Trump. In fact, he's a little bit more still in Trump's corner than a lot of these right-wing podcaster guys. Theo Vaughn and Schultz and Tim Dillon, all of them are a lot more out on Trump than Rogan is, which is a very interesting part of this phenomenon. Could be an indication that, like what we're all suspecting, that Trump's base is not moving away from him as much as some of these personalities like Tim Dillon and Theo Vaughn and people that fall more into that sort of fried headspace. Those are the ones who are moving away from Trump, which Joe Rogan fits in that category as well. But he also, I think, is a little bit more of a cipher on like where middle America, where the base is at on this. So off Republicans listening to rap? No, but that's a good idea. Maybe that would be a good thing for me to cover. I mean, I remember when Ben Shapiro was doing that. That's one of the main things that made me want to diss Ben Shapiro. I've written a couple different disses of Ben Shapiro, and that was why, when he started talking about like Cardi B and rap music and Future, I remembered. Rogan comes across as a stupid person's idea of the working man. Yeah, or like stupid person's idea of like a normal like tough guy, healthy workout guy. Don't know who Tim Dillon is. I've covered him a few times. He's a Rogan Sphere type of podcaster. In some ways, you could say he's one of the worst, because he's interviewed people like Steve Bannon and Marjorie Taylor Greene. So relatively insidious in nature, I would say, about Tim Dillon. But he also has a way of satirizing and calling out, articulating the absurdity of the like technocratic side of the Trump administration that the other guys don't have that ability to do. But he also is very much still on the Trump narrative on a lot of things, and like immigration specifically. So they all are basically the same guy. That's okay if you think I have lukewarm takes sometimes. The whole thing about going easy on them is interesting to me because what it really comes down to is I'm just trying to respond to what they're actually saying rather than characterizing it or creating a villainized version of it. Because even though I think what they did was fairly insidious, which is what I just said about Tim Dillon, I also think that, like, I don't know, I'd be lying to say that, like, I don't understand where people's motivations fall when it comes to these podcasts and stuff like that. And so I just don't think it's always as straightforward as, like, they're saying this to make money or not to make money or whatever. I don't know, that's lame. Like, I could take that stance and double down on it for 20 minutes, but I don't think you would get very much out of that. And I think we are better served by actually, like, listening to what people are saying and responding to that. So if I am a little too charitable to them in the course of doing that, that's okay, because I feel like I also do enough of what people would consider to be bad faith criticizing or harsh criticizing that it balances it out. Yeah, right. Like, I'm trying to make points in a way that are gonna, like, resonate across the board and make people think a little differently, not just continue to double down, because that's how people get it wrong in terms of what Rogan's doing, where they're like, Rogan's finally changing his mind and he's just going where the wind's blowing. That's not true. Rogan is actually taking somewhat unpopular positions sometimes, and you know, it is partially he's trying to articulate where he feels like the wind is blowing. But if you pay attention to what he's saying, his underlying beliefs are not actually changing. And that's the most important thing to pay attention to with these guys. Some of them are not as developed in their underlying beliefs. Theo Vaughn is not very developed in his underlying political beliefs. But Joe Rogan is, Tim Dillon is. So that informs, like, where they're going to go next. And that's usually what I'm talking about. Probably the only one that does point out Tim Dillon. People look over him. I don't think I'm the only one. I'm one of the few. But yeah, maybe I do cover him more than other lefties do. I also think that, like, since I cover these guys a fair amount, wouldn't it be boring if I was just only trashing them all the time? Like, I do trash them when they deserve it, but I feel like, you know, I'm just trying to have a little bit more of a thoughtful discussion. Ignore the Epstein files at all costs. Why can't Jesus Christ be AI? There's people out there who think that Jesus Christ is going to be AI. Or that, like, that's where all this stuff is going. All right, let's look at these scientists. Brittany Broski. I don't know who that is, sadly. The Devil's Diary. Kombucha Girl. You're saying Brittany Broski is a kombucha girl, or those are two different people? And if that's a description, then what is a kombucha girl? Billionaire cuck trying to create God using AI. Oh yeah, they're all doing that. They're all doing that. I'm surprised somebody hasn't tried to market theirs that way yet. It's such good rage bait, you would think that they would go for it. Thank you, Zah. I appreciate that. I felt for a long time that, like, a big part of the problem of where we're at is that people don't actually, like, pay enough attention to what the other side is saying. And that's true about the right too. A lot of the right has never actually heard someone on the left make an argument, whereas on the right we have heard them. We've forced ourselves to listen to them a lot. So I guess that's kind of the work that I do, is making sure that people are still aware of what these people are saying and how to think about it and combat it, while also trying to reach as many right-wing people as I can with a real and understandable, like, left-wing argument that they might not usually hear. Joe Rogan raised the concept of Jesus being an AI generated. He talks about AI becoming God all the time. That's his new thing, is that he thinks AI is going to become smart enough to, like, take over and you know, like, be God and take the reins from humans. That's basically, so he's fully bought the idea that, like, AI is already conscious or going to become conscious very shortly, and it's essentially this, like, God entity that we interact with. That's basically the way he talks. Joe Rogan has gotten really crazy. Like, when you really listen to the podcast these days, which I do when I'm reporting on it, when I'm covering it, it's like he goes pretty far into crazy land, man. Like, he talks about he's fully accepted the idea of aliens. He thinks humanity is evolving to this, like, he thinks basically evolution is going in the direction of, like, soy boys. Like, everybody's evolving into soy boys, and that goes into the vaccines and the chemicals and all of that. So that's really where his political analysis is coming from these days, is like this like weird, like, biochemical AI warfare that he perceives is going on. Developing and patenting a specialized type of metal used in rocket manufacturing. That was one of the people who went missing. She smiled and waved while hiking. Whoa, she disappeared while hiking with a friend near Mount Waterman. According to her companion, they were roughly 30 feet up. Oh my God. That's crazy. She disappeared in the woods? Yeah, I agree with that, Za. That's called steel manning as opposed to straw manning. So I agree. That's usually what I try to do. And the argument against that would be that you can get trapped into giving somebody good faith who doesn't deserve it, and you're trapped in sort of an endless argument. So, you know, you do got to try to be able to discern when people are being dishonest. But I think on the left, we have way too knee-jerk of a reaction to say that someone is only lying all the time, or that everything they say is only to fit into a certain agenda. Whereas when you listen to what some of these guys say, that's not actually true. And I personally think it's more interesting to listen to people and try to get to what they're, like, actually saying, because that's how you're really going to convince someone. And what I would say is that I want to find more people on the left that I can cover in the same way, so that I'm not only ever engaging with these right-wing arguments, which I'm not only ever, but I definitely don't have as many people on the left that I can cover that you know, people want to hear about, that I can make some good points. Sometimes when I cover Sam Cedar or Emma Vigeland, that does well. So Hassan, for some reason, videos about Hassan don't do well. I think that's because he's controversial, so it gets negative engagement as well as positive engagement. So I don't know. It's just, I try to engage. If I'm gonna do this shit where I'm talking into the fucking internet, I might as well try to do it in a way that feels healthy and doesn't feel like I'm just trying to get people worked up emotionally, which does feel like, to me, what a lot of content is about. Are there signs of kidnapping? Didn't say so. No, it says they didn't find anything, and she was... I don't know how there would be signs of a kidnapping, and how somebody gets kidnapped while they're with their friend standing 30 feet apart. I don't know how anybody goes missing under those conditions, even if it's fucking... even if it's like the most high-level operation. How do you pull it off like that? Yeah, I know about Havana syndrome. I've been saying Havana syndrome was a psyop for years. Hell yeah, thank you, Patty. Sounds weirdly North Korean. Do you think it's a North Korean op, Twy, or do you think it's somebody... Do you think it's America becoming more North Korean? Patty boys. I appreciate that, Patty boys. I've adjusted my process, my workflow a little bit, so that I'm able to do the citation process a little more thoroughly and move a little quicker. So I also think that the content has improved over the last week or two. So I appreciate you saying that. Men in Black mind eraser. But then why wouldn't they erase the mind of the friend who was with her? Because she was with a friend. So there's a witness. They left a fucking witness behind. They kidnapped somebody in the middle of the woods and left a witness. Nah, that's crazy. She disappeared into the multiverse, bro. Had to. This is the type of shit that will make me go into conspiracy land for sure. I'm surprised Joe hasn't been talking more about this. Highly respected physicist specializing in the physical properties of asteroids. It sounds like these people got disappeared into the multiverse as an elite team of scientists to solve an interdimensional problem to save the universe. That's what I think. Definitely America transforming into North Korea, but it's late capitalist oligarchy instead of Jewish. Yeah, I'm with that. The discombobulator. Has Trump actually said those words? Because that would be hilarious. In interviews and podcasts recorded prior to her death, this is Amy Eskridge, I believe. No, not the most recent. Oh, fuck you. Interviews and podcasts recorded prior to her death, Eskridge alleged that she and her team were being subjected to harassment and psychological warfare to stop her work on anti-gravity. But by who? Doesn't say by who. Mr. Possessive, that could be a movie. Thanos snapped his fingers. Discombobulator. Discombobulator. We've got a discombobulator. Never seen anything like it. They get all discombobulated. I believe that there could be a thing that's a discombobulator. So what do we think of Havana syndrome? Do we think it's real, or do we think it's a discombobulation? Because I've always thought that shit was fake. I've thought it could be real, but also they requested a bunch of money from Congress that never went anywhere, and there's been multiple hearings to ask them to prove these claims, and they never have. And every time it gets hyped up, it then just completely falls out of the headlines. It seems like one of those things that the intelligence community really wants us to talk about, and people just don't ever bite. Terminator scenario in reverse. That'd be cool. The idea that something like that's happening and the president doesn't know makes it even more insane. But obviously, who knows? I wonder if Trump is ever able to keep his mouth shut about anything. Are there things that he doesn't let slip? I wonder if they probably don't tell Trump things that they really don't want to get out there. I do think that hip-hop is being defanged by being commercialized. I think that the political stuff is still there. I started getting more political in my music a few years back, several years back now, because I didn't feel like anybody else was doing it. And there needed to be more voices pushing back on Trump and the fascist movement. This was back in like before COVID. And so since then, there's significantly more music like that now. It's a little bit more underground. You have to find it in the algorithm. But if you go on Instagram or TikTok for just like a little bit and just like search some things, or search until it starts showing you artists, you know, music, people playing music into the camera, or different types of reels like that. And just like a few of those, and it'll start showing you shit. And like, it won't take long for you to find more political stuff. You know, I find stuff like that all the time. There's definitely a lot of good music like that coming out right now. Is it that popular? No. Do people like Kendrick Lamar and J. Cole kind of abdicate their responsibility to speak coherently about current events? Yes, in my opinion. So, and I think that's commercial for, you know, to an extent. Kendrick knows that, like, he'll have an easier time getting his message across if he stays away from certain direct political statements. An example would be the Super Bowl performance that he did, where it was a pretty political message, but in a pretty vague way. And in my opinion, not in a way that met the moment. But, you know, even in that same performance, you had a guy sneak a Palestine and Sudan flag on the stage and then get dragged off stage by security. So that the energy is still there. And I do think more people are doing that work now than were a couple years ago. You just got to look for it a little bit. They're never going to make that the mainstream, you know. And I hope that we can move into an era where stuff like that is more popular and the commercialized stuff is less popular. Parody briefing before the real discussions. Yeah, that's probably true, Mr. Possessive. They literally kicked him out of a military briefing. Yeah, what do you keep saying that? I want to look that up. Probably not even now that dementia advanced. Someone masters anti-gravity. Space travel would be cheaper and faster because we could theoretically control gravity to accelerate or decelerate the craft in any direction. I do feel like some kind of crazy breakthrough like that is going to happen soon. That is going to totally change a lot of things about like where we're at scientifically and as a society in terms of energy production and stuff. I feel like it's only a matter of time. But I don't think it's going to come through AI. I think AI might be very useful in the implementation of something like that, but AI as we know it is definitely not going to be the core of whatever the transformative technology that is around the corner, I think is around the corner, is going to be. Can you imagine if something like that, if we get something like that under Trump? That would be crazy. Trump is reacting like Hitler on April 22nd, 1945. Don't know if we're that far advanced yet. Let me look up this thing about Trump kicked out of a meeting. That sounds funny. Trump learned 2 fighter jets went down in Iran. He lost control of his emotions and went on a tirade. Frenzied state. First glance, it appears the president, his presidency. So he was freaking out because he thought that them going down was going to like be the end of his presidency. The thing with AI is it just draws from what we already have and makes inferences based on it. Nothing can beat human innovation, at least not yet. Yeah, not even that, Mr. Possessive. I think AI as we know it is way more it's all just probabilistic, you know? It's not actually applying any rigor at all to what it outputs. So to me, that alone, I'm a lot less anxious about AI than I used to be. There are some aspects of it that still freak me out. And, you know, I still have my moments, but I don't know. It just seems more and more that like it's confirmed that there's a hard ceiling to what large language models are able to do. So when you incorporate it into certain processes or workflows, it can work, but you know, the overhype about it taking over every industry is just, it's not going to pan out that way. But, you know, it's definitely doing some damage. So Trump is just going fucking insane. Yeah. Yeah, AI is the wrong AI is the wrong name for it. Another thing I've noticed about this scientist story is that it's a lot of right-wing outlets reporting on this, man. There's more. It looks like there's more across the aisle now. But when I looked this up the other day, it was like all News Nation and Fox and Yahoo. All right, I want to start rapping again in a second, so I'm gonna find a little bit more about this and then get into it. How's the sound quality? Is it sounding good? Yeah, I use Ground News. Not all the time. The thing about Ground News, and I can say this because they don't sponsor me, is not the most easily navigable. It is pretty nice. Like, it's functional, but could be a little slicker. So I don't always use it. But if there's like specific things I want to look into, it's a really good source for that because you can cross-reference. Not confirmed an official connection. Each of them had a high-level security clearances at national research facilities. So it sounds good, Luntha, is what you're saying? Yeah, Luntha's low-key a hater. Hell yeah. Seems quite unlikely that he was taken to extract very dated secrets from him more than 12 years ago. That is interesting. There may have been more going on with him than she knew about, though. terribly audible as usual. I'm gonna remember that. All right, switch to the next beat. Yeah. Okay. UFOs flying through the space night, trying to make space for aliens who might just come and take what they like. Take things out of spite just cause they've been watching for a while and they don't like our freedoms in America. It's so terrible, so that's why aliens gotta come and take care of us, do what they can with us, and it's quite cantankerous, gonna put us in a can and then just poke and prod at us, probably just gonna tell us that they're proud of us so they can find a way to string us up and then just put us in pods and make pods of us. Luckily I already got a podcast so they can just find it and VOD that, and that's just the only way to get the spot back. Matter of fact, this is a language that I can use to recreate the whole flow and find them and then just rewind it and re-spot that, make it spotless, and this is something you might just spot if you look up, and when it's dark and when the sky darkens you can see the flashes of light across it, and it might just be too cross, might be cross when I come and take your cows just so they can stop taking the load off, and really the load bearing question is what is happening with all these scientists going missing and people causing distractions everywhere. It's almost impossible to know where to place your attention, and anti-gravity seems like it's kind of important, like it's pulling tension, and I'm not sure what the tension is between different nations and America and the rest of the universe's population. If there's some kind of beef that I wasn't aware of, but you can just understand that I'm not a part of it and I'm staying anonymous and through the whole part of it and the whole process, so you don't have to come and try to abduct me because I don't have any government secrets. But I must confess, I'm kind of curious to know what is the anti-gravity pull that tells us how these things go and how things that we don't understand can move across our skies and be moving so bold and out of control. This whole situation's out of control, not sure where it goes from here, but I know that it's written in scrolls way long many years ago, and it's useful to go back and just peel through the pages just to understand what people are thinking. Not one for conspiracies about aliens landing on Earth and playing their plans, but it's kind of funny to think about when you want to just use your imagination about the origins of life and humanity's population and where it could have came from and how that could be interacting with aliens currently wanting to communicate with maybe their creation or maybe a past version of themselves. Maybe this is some kind of convergence of universal realities that find their point and split, and there's just something to point at so they can make their point and then split. They got a couple moments and it's just a crucial moment in humanity, so maybe this is the moment to make a difference, and if they interfere now they'll make a dent, making a dent on the universe, and it ripples in every direction and people can barely be deflected from it. But it seems like we've entered into a weird reality and we can barely recover from it. It seems like we're on a wrong timeline, and I'm not sure if I can find myself the way I thought, but I know that it's a fine line between reality and perceiving what's actually happening, and the secrecy around all of it that we're all told to ignore would be much easier if we were getting what we're supposed to be getting out of it. But the deal is raw, and it always has been, and that's causing havoc and causing our fucking trust in the fabric of society to be ripped apart. So when these things start happening, people want to come up with their own theories about it because they want to get to the bottom of it, feeling like we're bottoming out as a society. And really I got a problem with it because I know that it's problematic how they're all just splitting, and I'm just not trying to split in fractions or split atoms. I'm just chilling. I'm not one of the one that's practicing this type of nuclear fission behind closed doors, building up secrecy and secrets that can be used in the destruction of humanity and much more. And that's just raw force that I've not known what for or have never known in my life and probably never would. The type of shit that moves boulders and moves universes and could destroy life on Earth as we know it, and probably would if left unattended. Maybe that's why we are getting some attendance from some understandable things. Trump said that there's going to be a disclosure day, that they're going to disclose the papers on UFOs, but I'm doubting there's going to be anything in that. Matter of fact, I think I can predict down to the letter what it's going to say. It's going to say that in our airspace there are unidentified UFOs that are flying and finding their way, and we're not exactly sure how they work or what it takes to keep them fueling or how they're going on the same way, and how they just fly faster than planes. Got a couple camera grainy pictures, but that's all. And we can't deny the reality, the existence of these things, and we have no information on how they move. But we've seen them a few times and have different government footage as well as citizens for me and you. People have seen it, can't deny it any longer, and reports of finding debris and pieces of it are actually true, but there is not much that we've discerned from it, and we don't know much about it, having scientists work on behind the scenes on it, but they haven't actually come up with much, and so that's why even to this day they can't tell us about it, and they'll probably find some bullshit way to just paper over it and tell us that there's not much they've discovered, and whatever anti-gravity situation is going on with it, propulsion that is ununderstandable, doesn't necessarily imply aliens are the ones that configured it or made it or are figuring out how to do these things. It might be a different level of humanity we haven't discovered yet, someone behind the scenes working on things that we don't know they have the capability of, and if that's the truth, then that actually leaves us more vulnerable than we thought. And that's probably the reason that the US government is so sheepish about putting this information out. But there could be more than I thought, but I have a feeling that's where it's going to stop, saying that we found a bit of this technology and broke it apart and spent years trying to figure out how it works, and we've only made a small bit of progress on anti-gravity, and that's the nature of these researchers that disappeared into the dirt, into the forest, like a split second. First she was gone, first she was there, then she's gone. Next time you looked at her, and it's lost in a splurge, and now I'm just lost in this discursion. This universe is a little bit discouraging, seeing the size of it, but it seems like things going on this earth, on this planet, are seismic, and it's just a constant shift that I'm feeling, and I'm sure that I'm getting this feeling because there's something worth revealing, and I know that if I hit this ceiling, that there's something on the other end of it that'll probably be taking me to places that I could revel in, and this devilish influence that we're having. The Christian nationalists think UFOs are actually devils that are coming, and demonic entities pressing us, and that's really going to lead to unprecedented levels of terrible governance. If we let someone like Tucker Carlson, who earnestly believes that, into the levers of power, he's going to probably use it against imaginary enemies, or even worse, someone who could vanquish us with the flick of an eye. And it just gets to me, I'm not sure if this anti-science shit can last much longer, because they're not going to have the answers that people hunger for in a world where we are actually being taken over by AI and other forces we don't understand. There's going to need to be people at the forefront who understand it, who have spent years studying it and actually know how to address the problems we're being faced with. Not that anyone is prepared for what's coming in this next generation, but a little bit of education goes a long way when it comes to anti-gravity and other types of technological capacities we might have behind the scenes in closed doors meetings that you and I are not allowed to be privy to. But this is just the beginning of it too. There's going to be more, and we're going to get into it by the end of it, and I know it might go against what you would find intuitive, but this is just true, and if you listen to it for just a second, you would understand that this is going to affect everyone, and it's inevitable that it's going to get through to the zeitgeist. Everybody wants to know what's going on with the aliens, little guys in the sky that are just causing havoc and all kinds of confusion, and coming just at the right time to get us and hit us from the blind side. And I'm not sure if I'm decided if I think it's true or if I think it's just bullshit, rhyming, made up, trying to find a way in, and hopefully I can find my way in, taking over the world. Luther, that's what he's saying. He's always saying something like that. That's just him playing. Yeah. Spaceships flying through the sky at night. Just lift your eyes so you can see it. Hope you discern it right. Might be a bit concerning. I mean, there's a lot to be learning still, and I'm yearning for someone who is actually earning their way through and trying to just learn the truth and find what's true in it. Sorting through piles of poop that people are putting out on the internet for me and you, just so we can get stuck in it and not know what's going on. And that's really what all of it comes to. And if you put it up for just a second, you would know it's not worth putting up with. But this is just worth getting your comeuppance for more than just a second. So what's it worth? All right, that's good on that for now. Style chart malady, far side of a fallacy, smooth it out callously, casually causing casualties. Too many words for me. Actually, that's something I would need to brace for, but I know that the causality and the chain, it all links, and all these things are coming through, but all my fucking thoughts are starting to sink, and I'm just hoping it all drains down, but it's all something I need to drink, like some alcohol. Mac Neo? I don't know who the fuck that is. Don't tell me there's a white rapper named Mac Neo. What is it with Well, I'm not going to say he's white until I get confirmation. Is that a rapper? How are we feeling about this format? Is it flowing? Do we like the talking going into the rapping? Is it too much talking? Is it too much rapping? I feel like I talk for a long time and then I only rap. I don't know how long I rap for. Maybe like laptop. Oh, Mac Neo. It's a kind of computer. I don't know. I don't use it. Is the rapping working for you guys? Is it too broken up? Best of both worlds. Cool. It'll be interesting to see if I get any clips. Some of these raps don't feel that clippable. Doesn't feel like I'm like, I don't know if it's solid enough for that. But I do enjoy this a little more. It's fun to be able to like talk with you guys, spend a little bit longer on stream, do a little bit of rapping. Maybe just treat the rapping more like it's for fun and get some clips out of that and do it like that. Am I actively monitoring my audio input? What do you mean by that? Sort of, yeah. Yeah, I'm looking at the levels to make sure. It might be peaking a little, which is okay. That's kind of just based on how I have it set up. I fuck with this beat heavy though. I probably need to rap more on this beat. Yeah, because I've been missing the talking streams. I put them aside for a while to just focus on the freestyling, which I really enjoy doing so much. But it's nice to just like talk and chill. And I want these to be a little more chill too. Can I hear my... Oh, no, I'm not monitoring my voice. Because the only way to do that would be to monitor it through OBS, which would be a lag, which would be distracting for me. So I have my voice going just straight through, and I'm not monitoring it, but I am listening to the beat in the headphones. And see, like, all this reporting is like that Rogan has been so critical of Trump, but he hasn't, bro. These people are missing it, dog. They're not really getting where he's going. After their Iran split, there's barely a split. Like, Joe Rogan has not really split from Trump on Iran. And in fact, he has said that he does not like approve of that, but he also has espoused their supposed reason for going to war in Iran more than any other podcaster has. He definitely feels like it's his he has some responsibility. That he has some responsibility to articulate why he's the only one of these podcasters that I've heard say global network of terror or what did he say? Global terror regime in reference to Iran. That is straight up State Department word for word propaganda. He's the only one of them that I've heard say that. So to say that he's splitting from Trump is not accurate. Do I fuck with A$AP Rock? Of course. Biggie, the legacy continues at this point. People have definitely heard there was definitely fucking Timbaland got in a bunch of trouble because he made a song using Biggie and Tupac's voice, I believe. And that was, so yeah, there's people out there doing that shit for sure. Definitely fuck with A$AP Rock. I would say he's a pretty formative influence for me. You saw him in LA? That's cool. That was probably a cool show. Mic with a headphone jack. Yeah, that might work. If I get an audio interface, maybe, except I think the problem is that if I had an audio interface, there's ways I could monitor it, but it's easier to just not. But what it would help me do is it would help me, I could work on like the effects and like make my voice sound a little more interesting. Formidable experience. Hell yeah. Is that what I said? Did I say formidable? I thought I said formative. All right, I'm going to probably rap about this Joe Rogan shit and then split after that. But this was cool though. I think I'm going to keep doing these this way. I like formidable experience too. Yeah, axis of evil. Definitely. That's exact, like damn near saying that word for word. Platforms of CIA. Yeah, and I think he talks to a lot of like anti-state or former State Department people and former military people at this point. I think those are like his friends. If he wasn't Christian. Yeah, propaganda is a sick ass name for a rapper. I think one time I looked that up, like fuck, did someone, I think I wanted to make a band called Propaganda, and I saw that somebody took it. Propaganda, taking a propaganda at your mama's pants for just a second before I pants her. But violence is not the answer. Proper grammar. I got a lot of cosmograms that I want to telegram ya just so I can get you to understand what I'm putting in grams for. Just for a picture for Instagram. Crooked by Propaganda. I can look that up. Damn, interesting. I didn't know Rick Perry was an advocate for ibogaine and whatnot. And that apparently Rick Perry, in his recent appearance on Joe Rogan, which I didn't watch, I almost watched that one, he apparently made the case for reducing limits on ibogaine. That's interesting. That's not something I would expect him to talk about. That's the guy who in Trump's first administration was the Secretary of Energy, and didn't realize that as the Secretary of Energy, he was overlooking nuclear power plants and nuclear weapons. And this issue is interesting because you're going to have a lot of people, and I saw Hassan do this a little bit, who jump on this and are like, see, this is it's all anti-science. Like, this is good. Like, this is a good thing that Trump's doing with this legislation. Might end up, the ibogaine thing might end up doing more harm than good. These studies might get shut down, but like, it's good to do more research into this shit. And people like AOC have been pushing for psychedelic loosening of restrictions on research into psychedelics as medicine for a long time. That being said, Trump going about it the way he goes about everything else is probably the weakest way to do it. So some of these precedents being set might collapse. But I don't blame Rogan for supporting this issue. But it's the endorsement of Trump and, his previous endorsement of Trump, but also the continuing endorsement of Trump that, but there's a lot more angles to this than I think a lot of people are because people are gonna be like, see, people have died because of this, and Trump is, Rogan is supporting it. But that's not really the whole story. Plus, like, this isn't, as far as I can tell, this isn't going to put anybody in too much more of a dangerous position. It could end up doing that. I see this as Rogan taking the opportunity that wouldn't come from any other president, which I don't necessarily blame him for doing. This is ultimately why he's been so close with Trump. But when you look at this versus the wars and the ICE and all of that, like, is it worth it? Is all of that worth being able to text the president and get ibogaine deregulated? All right. Ever heard of the rap group Humble Beast? No, I've never heard of that. Sounds cool, though. All right, a few more minutes of rapping about this Rogan shit, and then I'm gonna call it a night. Yeah. He tried to dismantle the EO, and it didn't work. It's still tangled up in court, though. Yeah. Trump and Rogan, best buddies, texting every day. Eventually, gonna come down to it that they're the only two that are left in this conglomerate, in this coalition together. People are saying that Rogan fully changed his mind on Trump and is not going along with the bully tactics that he has in Iran or ICE, and has some things to say about it, and is feeling disturbing and disturbingly clear-headed about it. But this would say that he hasn't changed his mind, and I wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't put it past him. But people are not really listening to what Rogan is saying. He hasn't changed his mind on Trump, not a bit. He just feels like it's a bad look for Trump to be doing things that are so blatantly against what everyone else wants. But Rogan feels like it's worth it if he can take the opportunity to get some things across to Trump and text him about ibogaine and other psychedelic drugs that he thinks should be deregulated. And because Trump is available to anyone who benefits him, he's ready to answer at a moment's notice. So he got back and said, I'll deregulate in a second. FDA approval, no problem. Going straight across my plate. Not really the way national politics is supposed to make its way, especially when it comes to deregulating drugs that could cause all kinds of problems in your heart or your health. And I'm an advocate for psychedelics and using them medically to understand research and how it can be helping the population, especially veterans, PTSD. There are so many vectors of it that need to be studied. But this way of Trump's of just cutting the regulations behind the scenes of the government and overstepping and corner cutting is not going to end up with the best possible results, and might even result in some deaths and people being swept under the rug in pursuit of some kind of psychedelic drug agenda agenda that normally I'd go along with, but RFK at the helm means there's no health focus and no health conscious approach to this, and he's already such a grifter, having to fold his Maha approach to health and trying to make it seem like there's any way to regulate the health of Americans without regulating corporations. It's all such a lie, such bullshit, and everything that Rogan says to this day is still in favor of the administration and everything that he would want him to be saying, including on the issue of Iran. Global terror network is what they're having. Haven't heard anyone say that except the State Department or Israel and maybe Netanyahu himself, but Trump, Rogan is just happy to repeat the talking points that Trump sends him, as long as when he sends him a text about an article of ibogaine and the way that it can help him out, then he is responsive. And that's the deal that they got, and that's why Rogan hasn't really changed his mind on Trump and hasn't gone against him the way the headline's suggesting. They're saying that Rogan changed his mind completely and is shifting, and that there's a split between them, but that's a misread of the situation, because if you're actually listening to what Joe is saying, he's constantly pushing the narrative that Trump is actually going along with, like narratives about immigration and how it basically got pushed to this point because of Biden letting everyone in at the border, and so exciting, and it's just something that incites his base and listeners to keep going along with this right-wing reactionary bullshit that is just striking like lightning, and he hasn't stopped, not with that world building, not even for a second, still talks about it every day and is now a part of this psychedelic slant that he has, talking about aliens and AI and how the future's coming, but somehow folds that into this like anti-social safety net bullshit that he's always pushing. So he's basically turning into a lifelong Republican in front of our eyes, and especially because this opportunity's coming with Trump to deregulate these drugs that Rogan has been an advocate of for his whole career in public eye. This is the only thing he used to care about. The only public issue he ever spoke of was psychedelic drugs and how they're supposed to help us, but people in the government just want to control the way our health works and the things that we put in us, the way our minds work, and that's why these things get pushed to the back of the list. And it takes someone like Trump that doesn't give a fuck about any corner cutting to just come in, and because it's a favor done to Joe Rogan, he's willing to get it done, and we'll see if it actually leads to anything. But I know that Rogan has sold out just for the purpose of this little trial that is signed through executive order, probably not going to hold up in court, at least not after a while. And it'll be interesting to see if this leads to different drugs being tried and different outcomes coming out of it. I'm not sure, but I know that I've got some doubts of it. A lot of the executive orders we've seen from Trump, like trying to dismantle the Department of Education, have been fails and flops and haven't got much farther than Congress. And that's the problem he faces, so really it's all just a stunt for the cameras, and Joe Rogan's showing up with his smiling faces and all these other grifters all around him, and they're just trying to paint this picture, and Trump just wants to seem like he has unity with the podcasters that got him where he is, and knows that Rogan is the one that has the most leverage of any of them, so he wants to stay in his good graces, and that's the reason that Rogan has been a little soft on him, because he knows that he has direct access and he can text him at any moment and get his opinion or give his, and that's the kind of access Rogan's never had, and he's excited like anyone would be. So that's the world that he lives in. Won't last forever, but I know that picture will of him standing behind him. The metaphor couldn't be clearer and it couldn't be realer, and I really just wouldn't reveal to the public I was supporting him as much as Rogan does, but I guess that's just the way he wants to go about his career, and eventually it'll all come out in the wash, and this Trump shit is gonna be on the other end of the trend probably by the time this war goes off the fucking hinges, off the deep end. Then that's probably when people like Rogan are gonna be stuck with nothing, have nothing else left. He's losing his window to actually turn tail, turn heads, and turn against Trump and actually act like he stands for something. These psychedelic drugs are not enough of a principle to stand on for a man to not have to lose sleep over it while he's laying his head down down, and I know that the rest of his career while he's sundown, and he's gonna be thinking about his participation in this blowing up of little Iran kids, and anyone the Palantir can get their grips on, their paws on, and pressing a pause on American democracy, cause they thought it out for a second and they decided they want to write this fucking manifesto just to manifest what they want in this world, and trying to take over the government and tell us as citizens how we should be behaving. Palantir wants there to be a draft so they can use us as data points in a larger calculation of war, so they can figure out the situation and probability of victory with any placement of resources in different locations. That's really all it comes down to, and it might sound like something that's outlandish to you, but this is just where they've landed us, and it's true that Rogan and all his podcaster buddies have a hand in it, and this is the future and reality they've handed us, and they're still just panhandling and trying to sanitize it and make it seem like something that's sane, but really it's insane, the crimes that are going on in front of all of our eyes in a way that they just constantly lie and trying to make it seem commonplace and trying to place it besides things in our brain that just go by the wayside, and really while they're waving high, there are things going on behind the scenes of the government that we couldn't believe that wouldn't ever go away in a blink of an eye, things that are gonna stay for as long as all of us are alive in this world. And I'm just trying to take my time trying to try to understand it. Yeah, try to understand it. Try to be understanding. What do we think? Is that enough? Should I wrap it? Crack brain like John Federer. Yeah, like John Fetterman telling them they better go find a better man for the fucking congressman, cause this one's causing a lot of problems, isn't them? Yeah. And this is just a wave that's flowing into them. Hopefully they can make their inference then. And their references are falling on deaf ears, and I know that they have no apprentices. And let me just be so relentless with the flow that they can't stop touching this. I mean, approaching this probably the worst thing you ever came up with. There's no plan that is more guaranteed to find you your destruction. And this is just an instruction and something I might just give to ya and get into the discussion quicker, cause this might just get busting open like bubbles of AI with all this AI that all these bullshit lies that they've been trusting. Let's see where it gets us then. Alright, I think I'm gonna wrap it up, guys. I'll hang out for like 4 more minutes and then I'll split at 5 a.m. So this was pretty cool. This worked alright. I dig it. I'll probably try to aim for going more like 2.5 hours in the future. I think that's like that's what they kind of want you to go for. I'm hoping these raps on this one translate well into clips. I feel like it was maybe a little too stumbly at some parts to work as a clip, but I'll have to listen back. But all right, y'all, I appreciate you guys. Any last questions in the chat before I take off? I'll be back with a video tomorrow morning, Tuesday morning. Will be my next video. And then I guess I'll be back next Sunday night doing this. This will probably be my weekly routine now, is that Sunday nights I'll do streams like this so that they're there for people in the morning. And we'll just keep it pushing like that. You think I got some clips? We'll see. I think so too, probably. People haven't been reacting that well to the clips, which makes me a little bit self-conscious about like the consistency of them. It seems like people have a high, like, I guess I just don't have that many like hip hop fans on my channel, but people have a pretty high threshold for what they consider to be like a good freestyle, which is fair. I like being held to a high standard, but sometimes when I take some of these clips out of context, people don't hear the flow and the rhyme schemes the way that I expect them to, frankly. So that's an interesting thing I've been adjusting to. But I do plan to keep doing these because this is just too much fun, and it's just something to get better at. It's fun to like just let myself rap a little bit every week instead of only doing the commentary. As much as I love doing commentary, gotta let my creativity flourish a little bit as well. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, I think that's true, Mr. Possessive. I think you're right about that. All right, guys, just a few more seconds. If anyone has any more questions or anything before I log off here. About to get some sleep. That's right. Now that I'm back on my nighttime streams, that's why Mr. Possessive is back in the chat. That makes sense, because he was on his night owl shit with me. That's right. That's right. All right, y'all. I'm calling it. Much love to everybody. Thanks for hanging out in the stream. Sing for you, no thanks. Have a great one. Peace out, Mr. Possessive. I'll be back soon. Yeah, like I said, tomorrow morning with a video. Maybe some clips from this later this week. We'll find out. All right, much love, everybody. Everybody be safe. Thanks for tuning in.